What up, you guys? Your boy Dwitch back at again with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about margins. What multiple should you be doing on cost of goods? Should it be 2x, 3x? Let's dive into it. So, essentially, a rule of thumb that a lot of drop shippers have been preaching online is a 3x multiple on, your cost of goods. But personally, for me, I find that doesn't work. Ad costs at this point are hella high. If you're scaling up, that necessarily isn't cutting it. For me personally, I like to have my stuff at minimum 70% gross margin, but ideally I like to have it at an 80% gross margin. And how you can do that is just get onto a simple, margin or whatever ROAS calculator to just calculate your break-even point, all that bullshit. But anyways, when you're doing these calculations, you want to aim for a minimum of 70% gross margin, ideally 80, anywhere where you can get it as close as possible to where if you get a 2 ROAS, it's around a 30% margin, because you never want to be in a position where you get a 2 ROAS on advertising platforms and you make net, 10%. That's crazy, because if you have a bad month, if you're at a 1.5 ROAS, it's going to be hella unprofitable. If you add team members on top of that 10% net that you're making every single month, you're going to be negative. You want to be in a position where all your, your gross margins for your business are around 30%. So once you start adding team members on top of it or any other miscellaneous expenses, you can net out around a 20 to maybe 25% margin. You don't want to be in a position where after advertising costs, you're at 10% margin, because again, team members, any apps and shit, you can easily be around 5. And if you calculate taxes and shit, you can easily have no profit for the, the year. So when you guys are looking at these products, look at the COGS, look at if you can justify putting a minimum, at least, I think a 5x is where it gets to the point where it's close to a 30% margin when you get it 2 ROAS. But nevertheless, when you first start off selling a product, it's okay to have a lower margin in the beginning, but your goal is to work yourself up to the point where you can be able to achieve this 80% gross margin. Because like I said, when you're scaling up, that shit matters. When you're first testing a product, it might not matter. You might not have high overhead, so okay, you can justify doing a 3x markup. But as you start growing your brand, that's when you're gonna have more leverage, you're gonna have more social proof, and that's when you can justify making your brand more premium. The whole goal with this dropshipping stuff is to test the concept out, find out if the product works, and move into a branded approach. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting inventory. That just means getting a premium feel to your brand, so you can be the premium version or the premium seller of the product. Because again, you don't want to be the guy selling the shit for the cheapest. You don't want to be the guy selling it the most expensive. You just want to be right in the middle, premium field, and have a different, USP, different offer, different whatever, so you can have a place in the market share. So you want to look at your brand again as a premium feel, and you will be able to charge more if you're able to give a good offer and give these people an understanding that you're providing them with more value than what they're paying for. I made a whole video about straight offers. Hop on the channel and check it out. But you want to provide more value than what they're paying for, and you can justify doing a 5x on COGS, depending obviously on your cost of goods. You might have to shop around. You might have to find different suppliers. You might have to, negotiate with your suppliers. But your goal is to have, COGS that are able to be 5x'd when you are selling products. Because, bro, like I said, 3x COGS, 2x COGS is crazy. If you're doing that, bro, stop running ads right now and just relook at your offer, look at the product. But 3x COGS is the standard that people be preaching. I think it makes more sense personally, and a lot of people that I've been talking to that are, at scale are saying, and I've seen it for myself as well, for my product, when I moved it to 5x markup, it becomes honestly, it's at a 5.8 right now, but anyways, over a 3x markup, it becomes a lot easier to manage your expenses, a lot easier to manage advertising, because you don't have to get a 2.5 to 3 ROAS to be hella profitable. You can fuck around and get a 2 ROAS. You can fuck around and get, a 1.9-ish ROAS and still be around over a 20 plus margin, and it just makes advertising a whole lot easier. You don't want to force anything. I've been telling you guys this since the beginning of the year. I'm not trying to force anything. I don't think any one of you guys should be trying to force results if it's not there, if the margins don't work, if the unit economics don't work. Then bro, don't force the product. Try a new product if you can't get enough margin out of it. Because again, as well as, let me run it back, I don't know what I was just trying to say right there, but if you guys are in the industry, obviously you're going to have competitors, and the person that's able to spend the most is the person that ultimately is going to win the customer. If you're able to spend, let's say, $60 to acquire a customer rather than being able to spend $30, you're going to be able to beat all your competition that are trying to sell, basically be the cheap version of your product. You're going to have more margin to spend, and you're going to be able to capture more customers in them because you can spend more money. So that's why it's also very, very important to be able to increase your gross margins. And you can also do this by, implementing different upsells, different ways, and look at different ways that you can increase your AOV. But a good rule of thumb, again, is to look at your margins and see how you can be at a 5x or 5x multiple, or bare minimum 70% gross margins, ideally 80, so you can be able to get a 30% margin when you get a 2 ROAS and be very, very profitable and be able to manage any expenses that you add on when you start scaling. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I had a situation where I one time did 100K in a month, and my margins were hella shit, bro. I pretty sure I lost money that month, or I was break even, just because of poor unit economics. I was giving fat discounts. Unit economic was low-key damn near like, my break-even point was like 1.7, I think, and that was just because I was poorly managing my finances with the business. And that's crazy. Imagine doing 100K and you don't even net anything. Like, what's the point? You just spend all this money in ads for literally no reason. So again, you don't want to be in that position. When you net 100K, you want to net at least, again, 20 to 30%. That's how I like to operate my e-commerce business. Some people, they like to operate at net 10% margin. It makes sense if you're at hella scale, but for a lot of us, the positions that we're in with our business, it doesn't make sense to net only 10% because we're not at major scale. If you're doing over $1 million a month, I guess maybe you can justify doing that. But a good rule of thumb for me, I don't like to operate my businesses that way personally. I like to make a lot of profit. That's what I'm in it for. I'm not here to have the biggest revenue screenshots and shit. Obviously, I want to get to that point where I can do that type of stuff, but I don't want to force it and sacrifice my profits. Profit is king. Profit is ultimately what's going to pay your bills and give you the lifestyle that you want. Your revenue doesn't mean anything if you make no profit. So I'm going to end off this video right here. Again, remember, profit is king. Don't sacrifice your profit to make more revenue. And yeah, it's been your boy Dwayne. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. And free Telegram link in the description. It's literally free. And I'll catch y'all in there, or I'll catch y'all in the next video. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. And peace.